Hello everyone, welcome to another live with THiNC Institute of Design. As promised, we are going to have a session basically on the major questions and queries that you guys have about NID Studio Test. So, NID's results are expected to come somewhere around the 28th of March. So, it's always better to be, over prepared or prepared as early as possible. So for that, we had already conducted a session with our previous toppers day before yesterday. On the 6th, we had a session. So it's a live recorded session. You can obviously go and watch it in the live section of our YouTube videos. Now, in this particular session, what we're going to do is we're going to answer the queries that you guys have asked. And for that, we have with us our academic head, Sachin sir, who has joined. So hello, sir. Welcome to the session.
Hi.
So I think it's going to be a very interesting day. It has already been a very happening day because the UCEED results have come out.
Yes, actually. So yesterday was JEE paper 2 results, and today it's UCEED examination. And yes, I think this year also we are having a very good results on the UCEED examinations. So yeah, that's a happy moment or happy day also.
Okay, but there might be a question in your mind like why are we starting so early, right? The results are expected to come somewhere around March 28th. So what is the importance of starting so early? What's the whole point?
So for a student who always prepare for the NID examination, like these kind of doubts are already there. So why should I prepare early? The results haven't yet published. So there is a kind of dilemma. They might get confused, like results not yet published. So what will be the results? So such kind of confusions will be always there.
Will I be clearing or not?
Yes, exactly. So that kind of tension, that all will be there. But one of the main thing will be when the results are out, then that will be a rush. So all will be in a panic mode. There are few days left for the mains examination. I think most of the times there will be around 15 to 20 days in between the mains examination. So there will be a panic rush during those stages after the result. So it will be better. So right now they have attempted the examination. They are free right now, and it will be on a cool-minded mode. So it will be better if we are starting our preparation. I think not that much. I will not mention like you have to prepare that much hard, but it will be better to start the preparations like just simple exercises. That will definitely help to avoid the that rush after
In the
results.
last minute once the results are announced. So that's what we've been finding most of the year. So they might be in a rush. They might publish the results one particular day. With NID, I think it's all unexpected. It's you should be ready for surprises. That's basically what NID is all about. In fact, all design exams, especially NID and NIFT, they are ready to throw in surprises at the drop of a hat, just like that. So how do we tackle surprises? You have to be prepared. You have to be over prepared. So at least putting slogging constant few hours every day till the results are announced might be helpful. Now, so basically we will be starting with the questions that you guys have already shared. We'll be taking one by one, but along with that, please do not forget you can also post your questions and queries in the live chat box also. So we'll be taking that too. We'll start with basically, okay, the first question that we have got is actually where is the NID Studio Test conducted?
Okay. So usually for the NID Studio Test examination for Bachelor of Design, it will be always on NID campuses. So majorly NID Bangalore, Ahmedabad, and Vijayawada. So that will be the usual kind of exam centers for the NID examination. So NID will be the examination centers of the second phase studio test examinations. So that is usually happen.
Okay. Now talking about the type of questions. So I think in the previous session we talked about some of the different types of questions that were asked in 2023. What are the major areas?
So when we talk about the NID Studio Test, you already know you will not get anything about the NID Studio Test until you reach the examination center. So like we mentioned earlier, NID is all about the surprises. So they will always surprise you with different kind of examination patterns. So but while analyzing the previous year patterns, so after COVID, I think it's on the third year, right? They have reintroduced the studio test. So while analyzing previous year question papers before the COVID time and the past 2 years, there we can analyze a specific pattern. So usually you can expect drawing kind of questions, like testing your creativity again. Not only on the prelims, you can expect drawing questions on the mains examination also. Then there will be 3D modeling questions, then audio visual rounds, then blind test will be there, and there will be, you can expect questions, not question, a pattern like to test their interpersonal skills also, like group discussion or personal interview. So such kind of test can be also expected.
Okay, so there is still some sort of pattern or method in the chaos also.
Yes,
Okay, interesting. What are the basic skills? What are the very rudimentary or very fundamental skills that are required that you would say?
So fundamental skills in the sense, I think actually NID always tests the creativity of the students with different category of test or different test patterns. So it will not be in the way that they should require like fundamental skills in that way, because it's all about surprises. So any test can be happened. So but again, material for the preparation of the examination. So it will be better to know some basic material handling skills, and also the your observation skills. So that is a really important two things when we are going for any design examinations. For especially for a second round of examinations, they usually test the material handling skills. So it will be better to know the fundamentals of that, things like material handling and observation. I think we will come to that point in detail.
Well, I think NID had the NID was the exam which asked about you're rushing to a railway station and what are the sounds that you hear.
Exactly.
Okay, so observations, looking around what you see and observing it. Seeing and observation has huge differences, right? These are probably the very basic things that are required. So other than model making, when we come to studio test and all, it's sort of expected. You talked about the other types of creative questions that have been asked. Now, when we're talking about focusing, is there any particular area that has to be focused on? There was a brief discussion in the previous session also,
yes,
right?
Exactly, yeah. So I will not say that you have to specifically focus on any particular area, because the weightage can be vary every year. So on the first year after the COVID, the most important weightage was given for the material handling, like 3D modeling kind of questions. But after that, they have changed the pattern to they are focusing, they are giving less weightage for the material handling, and more marks are there for the other examination patterns. So one thing will be, right now, when we analyze the last year question paper, there were 5 questions for the studio test, 5 back-to-back questions. So there will be 3D modeling, there will be drawing questions, there will be audio round, visual round, blind test. So all these kind of tests will be in a back-to-back mode. So we cannot say they need to specifically focus on a particular area, because sometimes there will be equal weightage for each topic
of the areas. Okay.
And so that will be better. We are focusing on, we not only focusing on a particular area, but we need to focus on multiple formats also.
Okay. Now, compare it's hugely compared with situation test also. Many a times it's compared with situation test. Lots of myths are there related to situation test. Now, situation test has something called as write-ups, right?
Yes.
Writing the write-ups for the models that we have made. So, is there anything of that sort in NID Studio Test usually?
Yes, sometimes there will be questions. So while making the models, so definitely they need to give a write-ups on what they have created, or any kind of inspiration, or why they have used this material to create this one, or is there any particular means idea behind why they have executed in this way. So if that kind of things are there, definitely there will be some sub categories or sub questions, like they need to write the write-ups. But definitely read the question carefully. That's the important thing. If they need to write a description or a write-up, definitely that will be mentioned in the question itself. And there will be some questions in which write-ups only will be there also, like a theoretical description kind of question will be also there. So write-up only kind of question can be also asked. Subcategory question will be also asked in that way.
So I think reading the question very carefully is something very important. I think last year we had some very interesting scenarios wherein students were actually asked to make something in that particular question based on what they have done in the previous question. So a lot of them actually missed it out, and just because of that, the entire methodology of answering got changed. So that's something that's very important. As in, Rashid has a question: time for studio test exams. So I mean, he's trying to ask what's the duration of the studio test.
So it will be usually around 3 hours. So like I mentioned before, last year where there were 5 questions. So each of the question have a specific time limit. So once you completed that, or once the time is completed, you have to jump to the next question. So there will be back-to-back question. I think there will not be gap in between. That will be a continuous one. So for each test, there will be specific time also. So altogether, there will be around 3 hours.
And a lot of our students are saying that all of that happened in a rush.
Yes. I think back-to-back question is always a kind of rush.
So probably practicing that way also could be something that's very helpful. Like you have a blind test, then all of a sudden you're going for the audio and visual round, then you have something to draw, then you have to write something. So it's happening it's like a marathon that's happening in just 3 hours. So I think preparing that way also would be helpful. Okay. Now coming to the preparation part of it, we've just dealt with how exactly the studio test happens, where it happens, what's the time duration. Now coming to the preparation part of it, the most important thing for almost all the exams in life, I would say, be it your exam to get into the college, or even once you get into the college, everywhere, I think one of the biggest hacks that everyone use is PIQs, previous year questions. Does that strategy work out in NID Studio Test?
Definitely that strategy will work out, but the main thing, you will never get those questions from the NID side. So when we are searching the prelims question, there will be always a sample question in the NID website, but you will never have an opportunity to see, or the NID never reveal the question they have asked in the previous year, or they will never publish a sample question type, because I think that's their area, I think. So if you are getting a chance of getting previous year question papers, that will be the most important thing, because even the patterns are changing. There will be a specific kind of question they are repeating each year. So it will be very much important to know the previous year question papers, because the pattern will be static. Which question from those pattern will come will be the main question, main thing. So repeated kind of question will be always there from the past years. So previous year question papers are really important, but finding it or getting it will be a tough thing.
So like the questions might change, but what's being asked, like creativity is being tested, observation skills are being tested. So those things remains the same. So on a long run, these are the skills that you are expected to acquire. Those who are excellent in these are expected to have a front door entry from the NID. That's basically the idea. Okay. Now coming to the next question. Now before we come to the next question, so we have organized back-to-back sessions. So we had a session on 6th YouTube live with our previous year toppers. Today we are having a session with our academic head who would be talking about NID Studio Test, and the next session is basically about NID Studio Test workshop, a brief workshop that we have arranged. That's again online. That will be conducted on the 10th of March. That is day after tomorrow. It will be on Sunday, so it will be at 7 o'clock. So anyone and everyone who is interested, you can register. Please note, you have to register with the help of your mobile number. Please give the right mobile number and the email ID, so that you get the Zoom link there. So it won't be something that will be conducted publicly. It's something that will be conducted in the Zoom link for free. So whoever is interested on that Sunday, you can join. Please try to give your mobile numbers and email IDs right now. We have shared the link also. The link has been shared in the live chat box. Okay, moving on to the next question. Okay, how does someone practice for the audio visual round?
Okay, audio visual round. Okay. Basically one of the important section for NID Studio Test. So for the audio round, basically the observation thing will be the most important one. So NID always tests, whether it's prelims or mains, they really want to know whether the candidate cares about the surroundings, like whether they that much keen, or are they observing their surroundings. That's really important. So I will not mention there will be a specific like a way to learn audio, like hearing some sounds and writing up. I think that will not help them really. Yeah, in a way it will help, but rather than that, just walk outside. So that will be the best thing you can do, and try to hear your surroundings. So that will be the best thing. So just go for a evening walk or morning walk. Try to hear your surroundings. So that will be the best way you can learn from your environment.
Get someone who can walk with you blindfolded, listen to the sound and try to guess it. Quite interesting. Interesting exam pattern, surprising exam pattern. Obviously needs, I think, different ways and strategies to tackle it. It's not a straightaway exam wherein you have to mug up something, you are asked and you have to reply for that. No, it doesn't work like that. It's something
like definitely they can Google some sounds and let's care, but it's not the way, right? They are not expecting that from you. Just Googling some sound and as a practice session, you are hearing something and learning out of. So that's not the exactly way. So try to get from your environment and surroundings. So that will be the best way to learn the audio. And about the visual one. So the visual one basically tests their interpretation skills. So how they are analyzing the visuals. So how they are taking meaningful content from the visuals. So I think last year there was a question like, uh, definitely you have to watch the previous session with the alumni, with the Karthik and Nima. I think that's a wonderful session, I guess.
So we had a session on the 6th. You have the live recording that's available in the live section of this particular channel. So please do watch that if you haven't watched that session.
So they specifically mention about these kind of things in detail in those videos also. So in that they specifically mentioned about the visual round that there will be a black and white video and they need to watch, I think around 5 minutes or 10 minutes video, I guess. So they need to watch that video, and with corresponding to that, there will be a write-up also, what they have been learned from the video. And one question was they need to create a poster out of it. So there will be a visual or a video, and the question need to create a poster out of it. So that's it quite different. So in the previous years, I think there was only interpretation. So what they have been so what will be the meaning or what are the things analyzed from those videos? But last year it was around some surprising thing also. They need to create something out of it. So rather than writing, they need to create a poster. So I think the way of communication has been changed. So rather than from write-ups to the image.
It's going to image. Okay. Okay. So what's the thought process one should have while approaching the studio test?
So again, I have to go back to the alumni. So clearly the genuinity. So genuinity of the answers is really important. Like if you're approaching a question, even for example, this visual round. So it's not like impressing the the juries. So they are expecting a genuine answer from your end, whether it's connecting or creating a story or drawing. So they are expecting. Last year there was a question like, a friend of yours is bullying another person. So what you will do? So for example, for that question, definitely they are expecting a genuine answer from your side rather than impressing the jury. Writing it's not what in your mind. So express yourself is the best way to. So I think genuinity will be a most important thing. And another thing, one of the tips will be the one which we have already mentioned, the observation kind of things. So that is also really important. And also material handling. So we cannot expect a specific material will be given for the 3D modeling. So what we can do is familiarize with different materials. You did not want to buy a certain kind of material. Utilize the materials in your home also. So try to develop something out of it. So with the limited resource, I think try using those limited resource. That will be the best way. Then after that, go research and find different materials and do something out of it. So that will be the best way.
So I think one of the thought process that of our previous student who's currently a faculty also, Nandini ma'am, was talking about was to grab all the materials that are available in the household.
Yes, yeah.
Each day try to work out on one material. It could be cardboard, it could be paper, plastic or anything of that sort. Try different types of techniques and things like that. Okay.
And they can try those kind of things right now. Because
okay. So this is the best time to try hands-on experience on all these things, because once the results are out, you are specifically targeting the exam itself. So there are certain skills that could be built up right now. So spending every day at least 2 to 3 hours and all might be very helpful.
I think our Sunday session will be all about such kind of things. So yeah.
Okay, we have an NID faculty, NID alumni who will be coming in that particular session, and I think it's also quite interesting, to get into the minds of the people who are actually setting that question paper. Even our students, when they come back after the first semester, when they come back after 6 months, when they open the door and walk in itself, it's an entirely different feel. It's not the set of people who went in June. Who came to our institute to say bye-bye, we're leaving to NID Ahmedabad. After 6 months, when they come back in December, I think it's totally...
They are so much mature, I guess.
You guys should really watch that previous live video that we had done with our couple of NIDians, Nima and Karthik, right?
Yeah.
Both of them super brilliant, but very, very keen, bloody serious about what they're doing. Really champions. Okay. Okay. Time management. You talked about 3.5 hours. I also talked about the rush in which NID Studio Test is conducted. What do we do here?
So the best thing you can do is practicing right now. So that is the most important thing. So yes, that's the examination hall. We know the pressure. Whatever we say right now will not be in a situation while they are doing it on the examination hall. So try to be cool. Try to be cool, and so that will be the best thing I can say for now. But practicing is really important. So how good you practice, there you can definitely expect some surprise factors from the NID Studio Test. But if you like, if your focus is out of that, like I'm finding a new question, so how would I do it? So rather than that, if you experiment, or if you have done any one of the question from the past years, if you have once in your life, or once your preparation time, if you have attempted any of these questions, then there will be little much confident. Like, I have been expecting this question, so I have done some other kind of question, I can utilize some ideas for this question. So I think at least once try to practice different category of question. That will definitely help in time management, because rather than getting into the examination hall blank, it will be always better if you practiced well, considering the time also. So different factors will be there which can help the time management. So one major thing will be the practice sessions before your examinations. So managing time, once you do, for example, for a 3D model, only if you have done a 3D model, you know how much time you need to spend on a model, or how much time you need to spend on a specific material. So try to explore such kind of things before your examination. So definitely that will help your time management, and try to be cool. That will be the best thing.
I think
Don't mess up.
I think one of the very important things when you're working, even in an organization, when you become a designer and when you start working in an organization, is that you do not have all the time on earth. So if you have all the time on earth, obviously you will be able to do something that's exceptionally good. I think it was one of the things that I was talking to our team members today. So you don't have the entire time. You have to fix it, because you have to finish things within certain time limit, and deadlines are very important. So again, on the foot, you have to think, you have to do all these things. You have to be creative, you have to bring your observation skills, you have to show your talent and things like that. So practicing that is something that's very, very important. I remember one of the mock-ups that we had done for Studio Test. We had at the night we had prepared the whole classroom for how they'll be coming and attempting. Last year we had prepared our entire classroom night. When they got in the next day, they were about to write the exam. So they had everything that was set just like an examination hall. The moment they entered, the adrenaline rushed. It was a totally different feel. So get into those sorts of zones. Adit was also saying something similar when I had talked to him. So Adit is our student. He is somebody who got into NID and NIFT, dropped NID, is currently at NIFT. So he was saying the importance of generating that exam hall wala feel.
Yes, exactly.
So that is something that's very, very important. And don't wait for, the results are out and you finish your preparation and then 1 week or 2 days before the studio test you will get that feel. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to start early. Earlier you start, the better it is, I think. Okay.
And I think one point I would like to add. So most of the students mess up with the time due to the wrong interpretation of the question. So reading the question.
Oh yeah, I think last
really
year.
So many of them messed with the time because if you are wrongly interpreting the question, you have utilized your majority of time doing the wrong thing. So really, on the first hand, definitely you have to clearly understand the question. So that is also really important.
I think one of our students, I think Anoop, who is currently at NID Vijayawada, he was saying that in the panic scenario, he took the first Fevicol, it fell down, it spilled off. He took the second one, it spilled off. So time management is something that's very, very important. There are things that you know, but just because you panic, you mess it up. So that should never happen. Okay, one of the most asked question, portfolios. Do we have portfolios for NID B.Des? This year.
No, exactly. there is no portfolio for the Bachelor of Design. So usually for NID, it was on for the Masters. Usually the portfolio will be there. But for now, for Bachelor of Design, there is no hint of submitting a portfolio. But again, we don't know what NID will do. Will they surprise us this year or not? With a portfolio round and interview round, we doesn't know. During the COVID time, there was
Yeah.
portfolio and personal interview. So there was other something called thematic reflective
presentation
So,
also.
so that such kind of things were there in the COVID time. But after the COVID scenario, there were no portfolio round. They have been stick on with the studio round. But it will be better to have a portfolio because being a design aspirant or a design student, it will be always beneficial to have a portfolio with you during your career growth also, or even if you are applying for any other colleges also. Definitely it will be really helpful to have a portfolio. Whether it's not there for NID, it doesn't make like you doesn't have a portfolio. I think it will always better to have a portfolio while as a profession, and also while applying for any other colleges. Definitely portfolio might be required.
So it's something which is as important as, just like any other profession, you have something called as a CV or a
Yes,
resume.
yes.
So it's something that's very, very important, irrespective of which college you get into, which college you get out of it. Ultimately, it is the portfolio that matters. That's what's going to showcase who you are, what you are, the kind of works that you do. Okay. One of the most interesting questions that I have ever had. So how does the rank vary from prelims to mains? What happens if I top the prelims? Do I get a sure shot entry into the NID? Can I mess up my NID mains?
No, actually, guys, because for the Bachelor of Design program, it's a 60% weightage for the mains examination, and for the prelims, it's 40%. So now you know who's the villain. So it's the mains, so it have the highest weightage. So even if you have scored well in prelims, that does not make you in a safe zone, because in the previous years, ones who topped have come down, and those who have come down have been raised rank. So don't think like I have scored really high marks in the prelims, so that is a safe zone. I can mess up with the studio test. Never think about it, because it carries the highest weightage. So score much as you can. So that will be the best thing. Do not mess up.
I think I remember last year Ashwin only called me twice in his life. Okay, the first call that I got from Ashwin is a Think Calicut student. So the first call that he did was when he was coming back after the NID studio test. He was sort of very unhappy, and he said he sort of messed it up. Okay, and he said like he got a good score in prelims, so he doesn't think he's going to make it. He sort of messed it up. The questions he didn't answer properly and things like that. So I said, you can never know if you have done it properly. You might get some good marks. You never know. It's not about the finish or the completion that's being tested. It's your ideas, it's your creativity, innovation, how different you are, how unique you are. These are being tested. Cut to 1 month later, the result comes. The next call. The only time, the second time he has called, he called me up and he said, "Sir, I'm selected." He's currently at NID Ahmedabad. So you never know. The point is you have to take each and every single stage with absolute seriousness. And obviously when the percentage weightage is 60%, it's something that's extremely important. Okay. Okay, the final question of this particular section. So when is ThiNC going to start its NID Studio Test coaching? What are the things that you guys will be involving in it?
Yeah, so we are planning to start our session just 2 days after your results. So we are expecting results on March 28, because as per the official information brochure, it's mentioned as March 28, but the results can be published before those date also, because
maybe
in the past year,
maybe preponed, maybe.
Yeah, in past years it has been happened. So what we are not specifically mentioning a date, but when is the results published? After 2 days, we are starting the studio test batch, and we have been preparing a strong curriculum for the NID studio test. So definitely all kind of different category of questions will be rigorously practiced during these sessions, whether it's material handling, audio, visual, or blind test, or intrapersonal skills. So all those areas will be covered during these sessions.
Okay, and you'll have both offline and
Offline and online
online
classes.
sessions. Okay, and as a precursor to that, we have a new session on the Sunday that's coming up. So everyone who is interested, please drop in your email ID and your mobile number. Your WhatsApp number specifically. So the link for the same, the Zoom link for the same, it won't be a YouTube session, it will be a private session in Zoom. So the link for the same you will get in your WhatsApp. Please note that this will be a session that will be conducted by NID alumni. Having said that, I am cutting to a comment that I've got. I'm very sorry that I just saw this right now. It's making Sachin sir's life a little bit more easier. So it's a pro tip by somebody whom you have heard of. He says practice making shapes with chart papers, and while making cuts in the paper, watch out for your fingers not getting cut from using precision knives, and do not rush the process. It's from Krishna.
Oh,
So Krishna is our student in the previous year, is currently at NID. We have had some really nice and interesting interactions with him. Nice,
I
unique.
really remember his really model stories.
Okay, so thanks a lot for chipping in into this particular live, Krishna. Thanks a lot. You're in our memories. Okay, sir, what is the cutoff specifically? So they're asking about the cutoff. So basically, the cutoff keeps on varying, right?
Yes,
so in 2022, if I talk of the cutoff was somewhere around I think 61 to 64 for the general category. For OBC students, it was somewhere around 51 to 53. And for SC category, it was somewhere around 46. And if we talk of, I think, yeah, if we talk of 2023, general category, it was somewhere around 57, 58. And for OBC, it was somewhere around 47, 48. But these are just numbers, right?
Yes,
So what do you have to say about that in terms of prelims cutoffs? I'm only discussing about the prelims cutoff here, okay? I'm not talking about the mains cutoff, yes.
So I think usually the range will be between I think 58 to 64. I think in the past years also, the prelims cutoff will be around this range.
So this is
58
for
to
general.
64. For general category. For general category, it will be range from 58 to 64. Usually the pattern is like that, and also depends on the easiness of the examination also. Like so, I'm not just saying it will be right now for this year also. It can be vary in this way. Definitely it can vary, but usually the range will be in between 58, 64, that range.
Okay, so I hope Nilanjana, that question has been answered. To everyone who is watching, if you have any other questions which we aren't answering, please do not hesitate. Please do post it in the live chat box. We would love to take those questions also. Okay, are we allowed to take the stationary things in the examination hall? So if yes, what are the things that could be taken for NID mains? This is B.Des NID mains. What are the things that I could take? So this basically depends upon what they're mentioning in the admit card. It keeps on varying, but still we can give you an idea about it. Yes.
So definitely when the admit cards are released after the prelims results are published and before the examination dates, specifically the admit card will be released for the mains examination, and definitely they will specifically mention about the materials which you can carry to the mains examination. So while we consider the last year, so they specifically mentioned about color pencils, then different varying grades of pencil, then scissors, then scales are there, paper cutter, fevicol, fevistick, and so such kind of materials has been specifically mentioned, and they will definitely mention the kind of material you are not allowed to get into the examination. So specifically, most commonly scissors, then paper cutters, then fevicol, fevistick, then color pencils, different grades of pencils, then eraser, sharpener, then scales. So these kind of tools can be taken inside the examination hall. But this is exactly for the last year. Definitely you need to consider the admit card for this year also, because the materials can be varied.
Okay. Any sort of materials that you want to give suggestions which they could start off with?
Okay, so material in the sense we are talking about the 3D models. So for NID, the question can be not exactly like you need to create a 3D model, like means more importance giving to the ideations or the color or color combination, color schemes like NIFT
NIFT
situation. So
situation.
NIFT mainly concentrate on those kind of details.
So aesthetics is a bit more
Aesthetics
important
in case of NIFT, but I've not mentioned like in NID also aesthetic is not that considered, but mostly the question will be related to the functionality.
Okay.
So rather than creating just a model, they will precisely mention a problem or specifically mention some conditions to satisfy. For example, before the last year's NID examination, one question was to create a cup carrier. Like there are 3 cups of tea, so they need to create a holder, cup holder. But the cups are filled. When the cups are filled, the structure need to be carried. These 3 cups of filled tea, and they need to take it out and they need to take it in.
Put it
Put
okay.
it back. So that was the condition. So a specific condition has been clearly mentioned. So that is a functionality. So rather than just simply keeping aesthetic sense, they are also maintaining to give, or they are little bit concentrated on the functionality of the product. So that is really important. So while doing the materials, try to explore those kind of things also. Rather than giving much more importance to aesthetics. For if you are a student preparing for the NID, try to create something which helps to improve these kind of things like functionality. For example, movable objects. So then some flying objects, some mechanisms, like so such kind of things can be practiced. And this kind of functionality like weight carrying structures. So such kind of ideas can be tried. And when it comes to materials, so small material means considering individual materials and practicing material handling techniques of each materials will be very much beneficial. And combining it together, how you can combine those materials, or each material have its own properties. So trying to find those and trying to learn different material handling techniques of different materials will definitely help.
Okay. Okay, coming to the next question. Okay, how to come up with ideas quickly for studio test? Is there any strategy for that? I love the innocence that's that's there in that question. It's one of I think probably the key questions that you could ask. One of the key areas that's being tested. Yes.
I think again, that's it. I need to give a diplomatic answer, I guess. Because it's all about you guys. Because like earlier mentioned, I can talk anything. Like you can do this thing, you can do that thing. But during the examination hall, it's all about you. How cool you are. That will be your creativity level. So,
I think previously one of the points that you're talking about was like we have around 3 weeks time that's left right now for the results to come. So that could be a time wherein you could travel a lot of journey of exploring certain new materials and all, which could again be one of the ways in which you could, arrive at certain
confidence
ideas.
level.
Yeah.
Like, I think, again, we are coming to the point like
Practicing. Okay. Very, very interesting question. Probably one of the things that I always ask when I start something new. What are the most common mistakes that students do when they're preparing, when they're in the examination hall for studio test? And how can I avoid them?
So, one major thing we already mentioned, reading the question carefully and do not miss any points. So, you need to attempt what they are asked for. So do not get panicked. So understand the question carefully, because their questions will be really trickier. So understanding the questions is really important, because after you finish the question, so if you have done a thing which doesn't make sense regarding the question, there will be no use. So all your time will be wasted and also the marks will be gone. So understand the question carefully. So think about, is there any connection between the previous questions? So such kind of things is really important. So understanding is really important. Then after that, correctly giving the time management. Like do not exceed, do not go for that much hyper level designer thought process. So you have a limited time. So they already know, they will never expect a hardcore designer from your end. They know you are the students who are going to study design. So they will try to have questions in that way. So you can simply finish those questions within the time limit. So time management, then understanding the questions is really important. And I think, not panic. Even if you are getting little bit time, try to be cool and do not think about others sitting near to you. So that will is another thing. Where if you are seeing your other candidates around you, you might get fear. Oh, he's doing in that way. I think that definitely make you panic. So try to avoid that. Be yourself. So I think in the last year that session also, try to convince yourself. So you have done what you have, but you can do. So that's the best thing.
Give your best.
Give your best shot. So that is really important.
So I think that one of the reasons why I was laughing was because I heard some of our students say that the kind of strategy they used to use when they go to the examination hall, that they'll spread out all the tools and materials that they have. They'll scare the hell out of other competitors. They'll they'll kill them mentally, emotionally. So that methodology or that strategy will be used deliberately by people by people who are sitting next to you. Do not fall for that. See, remember always one thing: NID is a great institution. I agree that ultimately it boils down to this is something which is as simple as a competitive exam. It is competitive. So it's not just about what you're doing, it's also about what the person is sitting next to you is doing. So do not look at what they're doing. Be yourself. Okay, coming to the last part of this particular session, the fourth and the last part of this particular session, the last set of questions that we have. Okay. So somebody who is not having a strong traditional art background, okay, what would you suggest him or her? But he or she possesses good, strong design ideas.
So that is really important. In colleges like NID or any design colleges, rather than having a traditional art skill, it's all about the creative design thought process.
So welcome to NID. You can just you can just come in. You are what is being searched by NID. We want people like you. But the point is, you will have to showcase that design ideas that you have.
Yeah, definitely. You need to communicate that. So that's a really important thing. So suppose a student who have that strong traditional background, he might not be able to produce a good creative design. So, but rather than those who does not have a traditional good art background, he might have different creative ideas. So it's not like that's a specific a person with a strong traditional skill have an advantage over those others. So it's not like that. So I know different kind of students. Even in ThiNC, there are different kind of students. Those who are really well in drawing, those who have a medium level skills. I'm talking about the skills kind of thing. But they have different creative ideas. Their skills are their creative mind or the design thought process is really great. So those students are still in NID. So even the students have strong skills are there in NID. Those who have medium skills
are still there in NID.
In NID, and those who have less skills also are there in NID. But the main thing is the creativity idea, the design thought process is really important. So even you possess not that skill, your ideas has to be different. So even it's not be like, oh, you don't have the skill, you don't have the idea, then it's a negative thing. But even if your skills are not that much great, if you can communicate a very good design or creative thought, that will be great. Okay. But I'm not telling like a person with good traditional background, that is not a disadvantage also.
Will not be able to join. Yeah. It's not like that.
It's not like that. That is definitely an advantage, but it's not like a specific rule. So they only perform. It's not like that.
Okay. Should I label my drawings or write any explanations next to them? I think we already took that question, right?
Yes, I guess.
Yeah.
Write-ups about.
Yeah. So if they have mentioned, then you should obviously write, or there would also be questions which just talks about write-ups, right?
And from previous alumni, I heard one thing will be like with the connection to the previous question, the traditional strong background. If you are not able to, if suppose there is a question in which you need to draw or something like that, if considering the time, if you are not able to communicate that drawing, definitely they have been used the write-ups, but it's not like filling with write-ups. At least you need to convey your idea. What you have been telling to the jury panel will be your idea. It's not like filling with the write-ups, but you can just communicate with, this is what I have been communicating or what I have been expecting or like that.
You can't use Shah Jahan's and Mumtaz love story. Okay. Can you tell some tips on what are the things mainly to focus on? Okay, 3D or model making or doodling or audio visual round? What are the things that are to be looked into?
So different formats are there: audio round, visual round, blind test, then group discussion, 3D modeling, drawing will be there. So it's interesting. The first three things which I have been mentioned: the audio, visual, and blind test. That is, you have vision, hearing, and touch. So three senses has been tested for the NID. Because for audio round, they are playing a sound. You need to identify that. Or sometimes you have to create some drawings or whatever.
Taste and smell are the only two
Only
things
thing.
that
I
are
don't know.
not being.
They might be introduced this year. So your senses is really important. So that is one thing. So these formats, you need to familiarize with these formats: audio, visual, then material handling, then blind test. Blind test, there'll be a black bag. One object will be placed inside it. You have to put your hand inside, and there'll be specific time. You need to what? Touch and analyze those objects with your hands, and you need to draw that object. So that was the test. So that is a blind test. You will not be able to see that object by touching. You need to analyze. You need to what? Draw the form of the object. So that's one question. So you can try that kind of question during these initial stages. It's really interesting.
Gold
So,
mines
yeah.
from the academic head.
So
Okay.
different formats. So I have to incorporate these kind of formats with this.
Okay. I remember we had one of the sessions wherein we were talking to one of our toppers who's currently at NID, and we were taking a video of that. And we decided we'll take the intro later on. We had the glass that was not filled with water. So we had changed it. So we are going back to the intro take. So we took already the video. It had a full glass of water. Then we are going back and taking the intro section. So we were about to shoot. She all of a sudden said that the glass was actually not full. You have to change it. Did you observe it? So I said, no, I did not observe it. She said, if you are an Indian, you would have observed it. So that's the observation skills.
That's the observation we are
That's
talking
the level of
about.
observation skills. Okay, there's a question from Mohammed Siddiqui sir. NATA examiner drawing live class tips trick ഒക്കെ ഉള്ള വീഡിയോ ചെയ്യുമോ സൂരജ് സർ? യെസ് ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി. നാറ്റയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള സെപ്പറേറ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സെഷൻസ് എന്തായാലും നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടായിരിക്കും. തിങ്കിൻ്റെ മലയാളം ചാനലും ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ചാനലും എന്തായാലും നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടായിരിക്കും. നാറ്റയുടെ പുതിയ ബാച്ചസും സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് March 20th തൊട്ടാണ്. Okay, so guys, coming back, Nandu has taken me off the track, sir. Can I take a drop here for UCEED? We'll come to that. We'll come to UCEED. Okay. Let me just wind up NID. There is okay. One more interesting question that's coming. Very valid question. Before that, so as I've said earlier, see, you need to start early. For anything and everything, it's always better to start early. The earlier you start, the better you are prepared, right? So it's not just see these great Formula One drivers. They don't start when the 5 lights go off. They start when the 5 lights go on, right? So it's always better to be prepared. So we have a session that we have conducted on the 6th already. Please watch the live session. It's with our toppers. So you can watch the recorded session. Sorry, not the live session. You can watch the recorded session. It's with our students who had topped the 2023 NID exams. So sir had hosted. I think it's very informative.
Yeah, very informative video. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I found interesting in that, how they're looking at the same exam that they wrote, how they're looking at it when they have spent 9 months in NID. It totally changes the perspective. So that perspective change also is quite interesting. Nima and Karthik, both of them are currently at NID. Okay, so after today's session, we'll also have another workshop, small workshop on Sunday on how exactly to kick off your NID Studio Test preparations and all. It's always better to prepare early. So it'll be a private Zoom live. How do you get into it? You can register in our Google form. It's a free session for everyone from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the evening. It'll be a Zoom session. You'll get the Zoom link in your WhatsApp number. So you obviously need to give your WhatsApp number and email ID. Okay. Any other questions that we haven't answered, you can post it below this particular video, or in that particular session you can join. Okay, if you're watching the recorded section of this particular video also, you can register before 10th. Okay, we'll be closing the registration forms by 5 p.m. on the 10th of March, that is day after tomorrow, Sunday. Okay, now coming to that final question, what happens if I don't get into NID?
You don't think about that. Always have that confidence and do prepare well. So see, it's not like what if I don't get NID? You have plenty of options. So So see, the design education doesn't mean like it means NID. If I didn't get into NID, then the whole thing will be gone. So it will be not like that. You have other options also. Even premier institutes, there are other colleges also. Definitely you can try that. But again, if you are still inspiring or aspiring about NID, definitely you can try. See, there are students also here at THiNC also. They have been trying for the next year also. So if you really want that, if you are passionate about it, I'm really mentioning that point. If you are really passionate about NID and you are really willing to work to
Adamant.
achieve,
Adamant is the word that he actually wants to say.
So if you really want to get into NID, and it's not like during the first 2 months it will be in a high rush, and for then after 2 months, then their aspiration will become down and there will be a slow work. It will not. It should not be like that. So if you are spending enough time, and if you really want to join NID, definitely you can try again. If you have that kind of eligibility criteria, definitely you can do that. But it's not like NID is the last. Definitely you can go for other institutions as well. There are different premier institutes in India which offer bachelor design courses also. There are different campuses also. So it's not like that. Don't get like what negative, like if I didn't get into NID, or if I don't get into NID, then that's the end of my design life. It's not like that.
And it is the beginning of it. And it is just the beginning of it, guys. And it is not the end of it. Okay. So I think that's quite interesting sort of questions that most of you had asked. If there are any further questions, please do post it in the live chat box. If we have missed any particular question, please do post in the live chat box. I hope this session was interesting and entertaining. We have the free session that's coming up on 10th. And okay, Krishna is again helping you here. What Sachin sir is trying to say is be consistent on your preparations. That's it's a very important point, to be frank. It's not just about the motivation. It's not just about the ups and downs. It's about the discipline. It's about being.
And he knows really well. Krishna, we will have a session after this.
Okay, so it's something that's very, very important. Okay, so guys, I hope we hope the session was really interesting, and thanks a lot for joining. Okay, I'll just take one more question Nandu has. If there are any further questions, please do post it. And okay, Nandu has asked, can I take a drop year for UCEED? You're the right person to say that.
So that's what I'm mentioning. So if you are, whether it's NID or NIFT or UCEED, if you're really passionate about it and if you're really dedicated, so you have to be dedicated, because for examination like UCEED, you only have 2 chances. If you have missed 1 chances, you only have one single chance in your entire life.
In your lifetime, you just have
Yeah,
2 chances. I
2
think even
chances, yeah.
UPSC gives 6 chances.
So if you are a person who are repeating for user examination, keep that in mind. You have only 1 chance to get into bachelor design courses in IIT. So you have to be that much clear about your path, and there is no going back or going out from that path. You have to be precisely focused, and I think in my experience, usually it's one of the toughest examination for bachelor design. Even for NID, I think it's not like that hard. Always the user examination, I think every student's when we talk about like JEE Advanced, usually is the JEE Advanced of bachelor design examination, I guess. So,
But I think if we look at the students who've cracked also, be it Vismay or Mohammad Farhan, everybody who is currently at IIT, I think they have all been consistent in their
yes, definitely.
practice, in the amount of effort that they have put. It's not just about what happens in December, January, February and all. It's something that they do
consistently. Like even the previous year question paper solving, I think they have been completed like thrice or 4 times or 5 times. Again, come back to the same question and
going back to CEED then.
Then so different kind of question. I think exploring different category of questions, and challenging yourself with the question is the best thing for a user examination, because it's all about the logical reasoning, and they've been introducing different patterns for drawing also. So if you are a person who are really wanting for getting into IITs, and you are that passion will not drop in between these months, then you can go for it, for preparing for 1 more year, because that's your only one last chance. Definitely you can take that 1 chance. So yeah, so that's
So if you're basically, if you're clear about what you want to do, if you're clear about the fact that you want to be a designer, you want to get into these premier institutes, be it IIT, NID or NIFT, and all, it's definitely worth a shot. There will be people who will, try to bring you down, who will try to demotivate you, who will try to say that what's there in design and things like that. Design offers huge amount of potential. Design offers, I think design is about to explode. Design is something that's going to be the future. There are companies that are giving leadership trainings on design thinking and things like that. And design is something that's almost there everywhere in almost all the big firms and also. It's something that's
one major thing. I think even our students struggle is to convince their parents.
Parents, yeah.
Even if the parents are asking some other persons, they also didn't even about these courses. They plainly say, "Oh, that course is not that much well. We haven't heard about it." But it's not that case. I think even if the parents are hearing this,
you need to call to 8086111024. Call the right call the right number always when you need guidance. On a serious note, see, these are formative years, right? Every decision that you take is something that's very, very important. I say this jokingly, but still, the career that you're going to have, you're going to spend 50% of your life, the 30-40 years of your life with that, just like something that's very important as your partner. Okay, so you cannot be complacent about it, you cannot be casual about it, you have to be absolutely serious. You will have to convince your parents, you will have to convince all those people who are questioning you, because if you're somebody who is passionate, if you're somebody who is really crazy about design and all, it's definitely worth a shot. Okay, so I guess that is it. So we have just kick-started our NID Studio Test preparations for 2024. There will be further sessions that will be coming up. Just final notes, anything you want to add, what they should be doing in the next 3 weeks? Obviously, if you are somebody who is having your board exams, you should be preparing for your 12th standard exams. Okay, you should pass. See, every design exam says that you should clear your 12th standard. It does not have it does not have percentage weightage. Like you score 51%, you score 99% in your 12th, it doesn't matter to get into NID. The exam results of NID only matters, but you have to clear your 12th standard. So all the students who are currently in 12th standard, you don't have anything else to do till your exams are over. You have to focus. If you get bored, obviously spend 1 or 2 hours in preparing for studio test. So other than that, what do you have to say for the last 3 weeks?
Guys, just relax, chill, take a walk. Then, like I mentioned, observe your surroundings. So hear what, I think evening walk will be the much better thing. Go for it. Come home, explore materials in your home.
Yeah, explore the easily available materials that are there in your home.
Then keep exploring such kind of simple. Start something. So that's the most important thing. And after your results are out, then you can just pace your preparation.
You can step up. You can slowly level up.
We all yeah.
We have our offline and online batches also that are coming up. Okay, so I guess that's it. Expecting all of you to join on the Sunday's session about how to prepare for an NID Studio Test. It will be a hands-on session. It will be basically a workshop session which will be conducted by an NID alumni. Okay,
and that will be an interesting session, guys, because material handling is one of the coursing about that session. So it really will be useful and interesting.
Okay,
so do join that.
So I guess that's it. Thank you, Sachin sir, for joining.
Thank you, Surej sir, for your insights also.
Spelling some gold B's into this particular session. Very valuable lessons that has been golden lessons from the academic head of THiNC Institute of Design.
And I thank Krishna also for his valuable comments.
I would say he was one of the panelists. I would say he was also one of the panelists. So thanks a lot, Krishna, for joining all the way from NID also in the live chat box. To everyone who has joined with the hope of preparing in a very better way, thanks a lot for joining and being this interactive. If there are any further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out in the comment box of this particular video, or anytime, any day, you can always ping me at 8086 111 024. Okay, there's an entire backend team that's worked very hard to ensure that these lives and sessions like this are successful. So thanks a lot to the entire backend team of THiNC. Until we see in the next session. Thank you, everyone, and right in front of me, thank you, host.